welcome to another episode of Room 420. Today, my guest is Erin Mullane. She is an actress, makeup artist, podcaster, cannabis aficionado. Is there anything else? Any other ways I could describe?
No, I mean, I've lived a lot of lives. We could keep going, but that's a good synopsis.
It's always sometimes I'm like, there was a life where I was just really good at digging dirt. There's 4 to 5 years old, and I forget about that, but that was a passion of mine for a while.
Yeah, for sure, man.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So like this podcast, we've been typically just talking about cannabis, how people use it, creativity, all kinds of things. Really happy you came on. You talked about how cannabis kind of helped you with has helped you with your epilepsy.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know. I was a child that grew up in the 90s. I went through DARE to don't do drugs, but we learned a lot about drugs in DARE. So for a long time, I was really scared about cannabis. I had that that scary little lion in the back of my head being like, bitch, don't smoke that joint. Put it down. Stay straight. And then I had a friend right after high school be like, here, let me open your world to cannabis. And I used to smoke ditch weed, which does no one any good. But when I started experimenting with better pot, I realized it really helped my epilepsy symptoms, medical grade marijuana, not the stuff that they sneak over in their taint from Mexico. Different qualities, different levels of weed here we're talking. That was back in the day. We've upgraded. But yeah, I've been off of prescription medications for the last 6 years, and I just smoke weed and eat edibles, and I haven't had a seizure in about 5 years. So
wow.
I can drive again. That's really cool. I had my driver's license taken away for a while because of my epilepsy. Cause I had epilepsy when I was little, and then it went away for 10 years. Sometimes that happens when you're a little kid. It's just like when you're young, and then it goes away forever, and then you don't have to deal with it again. And then in college, I guess because college sucks and it was very stressful, I started having seizures again in college, which to add on to everything else that is college, let's throw seizures in your freshman year. Yeah. Let's just spice that up a little bit. So I was on a whole slew of medications for many, many, many years. And I'm going to be dealing with repercussions of those medications for my entire life. My body will never be the same because they're very harsh and they have some very wicked side effects. And eventually I noticed though weed was doing just as well as my seizure medications. And then when I moved out here 8 years ago, in conjunction with my neurologist, I didn't just take myself off medication. Yeah. I've had doctors discuss this with me and help me along my journey. So about 8 years ago, I started weaning myself off all my seizure medications, and I've been off of them for 5 years.
Wow. What kind of medications do they have you on?
All sorts of, honestly, so this is really kind of terrifying, but did you know that they give most adult epileptics psychosis medication?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was on a bunch of antipsychotics.
You're trying to explain that to people. They're wait.
I swear, I'm not not that crazy.
It's different.
It's kind of crazy. I'm shaken, not stirred.
Good way to put it. I'm stealing that.
I saw this TikTok going around. It was your epilepsy playlist. It was Taylor Swift Shake It Off. Or AC/DC, You Shook Me All Night Long. Oh my God. I was oh my God, I want that epilepsy playlist.
Just playing it like that. I love that, dude. I'm nowhere near epilepsy, but I got a limp and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be born, so I've always been oh yeah, it's my pimp walk. God
yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. Own it.
Oh my God, so funny. But yeah, that's my journey with weed. I call myself a professional stoner. I smoke Snoop Dogg level weed. People sit down with me and they tap out, and then I keep going.
Blunt after. Are you a blunt person, or what was your?
I'm just too lazy to roll them.
Yeah.
If I have someone that will sit there and roll blunts for me, I'll smoke them all night long. So for my 25th, 26th birthday, 25th or 26th birthday, I had my medical card, and I was going to a medical only dispensary here in Colorado, and they were selling half ounce and quarter ounce joints. So I got 2 half-ounce joints that were like, they're about a foot long. They were like massive. They were like dick size. They was like, whoo, hello. And I brought that out during my party, and people started to leave. They were like offended. They were like, I don't know what kind of party this is.
There's like a length of blunt where you're like, this is too much for me. I can't do it.
Yeah. It was getting real scary. A friend of mine, I had a bunny at the time, and they were like, you got to open up a window, man. You're going to kill that rabbit.
So I feel like, what is more, like the length of the joint or like the width? You think that's...
It was real girthy too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. She wasn't fucking around. it was intense. If any of those people that were at that party listen to this podcast, they will vividly remember the massive joint that I brought out that like scared the entire room.
So I'm almost like,
and I smoked it by myself because those bitches weren't down to party.
It's like Dirty Harry with his gun. Dude, just your joint.
Yeah, that's what it was. That was me just in the corner with my big old stogie of a joint.
It was beautiful. That's beautiful. Do you like edibles too, or is it like concentration?
Oh shit, yeah. I literally just bought some edibles for my plane ride to LA tomorrow. There's no way I'm getting on that place sober.
Are you a plane sleeper? You sleep on the plane? Or?
I haven't been on planes a whole terrible bunch. I get really nervous on planes, so I'm just gonna take enough to not have a panic attack, and I'll be good.
Just kind of chill. Were you able to fly with your epilepsy growing up, or?
So I didn't start flying until I was an adult. I didn't go on my first plane ride until I was like 20.
What was your experience on that?
I was high. I was trying not to freak the fuck out. Because I was by myself too, so like
it's like some Wolf of Wall Street shit.
So I'm from Kansas originally, and anytime basically up until tomorrow's trip, anytime I get on a plane, it's to go from Denver to Kansas City. And KCI is a little touch and go to get into with weeds, so I gotta go smart, but it's like blow. I get it done. I get it done.
Like, why do you have so many teddy bears?
So I pack. This is just don't do as I do. This is a disclaimer. Do not do as I do. I'll like mix my edibles with like trail mix and shit because you can bring snacks on the plane and they're not paying attention. And sometimes I make my own edibles like brownies. We infuse coconut oil and make brownies with coconut oil and stuff. So they're slightly healthier. But one time I had a TSA agent like going through at Christmas. They'll be like, "Oh my God, those brownies look so good. Can I have one?" And I was like, I made them for my mom.
Like, specifically, these are for my mom. You can't have.
I'm so sorry. They're my Christmas present for my mom. And she was like, "Oh, okay. They just look really good." I was like, "Thank you." Bye.
The worst. Like an hour after you leave TSA, that guy's like, "Wait a minute. Bring that plane down."
I also travel with dabs. You get a little concentrate because they're in that like little paper. I seriously just shove that shit in my wallet in between some bills and no one knows.
Like, let's check your ID.
No one really gives a shit at DIA if I'm being honest. They really don't care.
It's
if you're going to be fucked wherever you land. You are not their trouble when you land.
Yeah, true.
So I'm not too worried about travel with weed.
I think I saw one that was like peach ring edibles, like the candy peach rings.
I've taken those.
Genius.
Suckers. I've taken suckers on planes, and I like gummies a lot. Gummies? I feel like they're the best to overcome that like weird artificial. There's like an artificial flavor that comes to some of the like chocolates and stuff. Yeah, that tastes a little funky.
Like you taste the weed a little bit. Yeah,
but it's not like that pure weedy taste. It's that little like it has like a little bit of a metallic tang to it because of the processing. Because they don't process it like you would if you were like at home in your kitchen. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Like mama's home cooked edibles.
Yeah. Literally, dude, I had a fridge we didn't have to buy edibles for almost 2 years. Almost the entirety of the pandemic, we did not have to buy edibles because we grew a bunch one summer, and then we had an entire backyard full of weed, and then we converted it all to butter, olive oil, and coconut oil, and that lived in our fridge for like 2 years.
Just straight farming. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was great. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
That it's an experience. You should grow. Don't just smoke weed.
Yeah.
Grow weed. You need to know how the process and how much labor goes into it. You'll really appreciate that weed. You can just go easily buy at the store.
What did you have a specific strain, or you're just like?
We had 3. We had, well, I don't remember the strain names, but we had a hybrid and an indica and a sativa growing in the backyard. They really got big, man. They took over the whole backyard. It was really intense.
They get
like,
big.
holy shit.
They get big.
And then we grew again during the pandemic, because what the fuck else are you going to do when you're stuck at home? And those guys were a lot less massive. They were also a lot more time intensive. If I had the option to grow inside or outside, I'd grow outside every time. It was way easier. You just like water them.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say like they just get bigger yield outside too.
Correct. Yeah. Inside is a whole pain in the ass. If you can grow legally outside, like around here in your backyard, do it.
Be awesome. Just have like almost like University of Georgia between the hedges. If you just had a field, it's just pot plants.
That'd be so good.
That'd be ideal. Like every college kid just come and grab some.
Yeah, just like, welcome to school, kids. Pick some off the bush. Head on into class.
It's like a free apple tree almost. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think has been the favorite thing you've ever made as far as edible goes?
Well, I don't know if it was the most favorite thing I ever made, but there was this one time that I got the most high I've ever been. It was one time I made my own shit at home in college. So for 420, we used to have this like whole weekend party, my like D&D group, and we used to just like smoke a bunch of weed and eat edibles all weekend and play D&D, and it was like a whole fucking thing. And I was also refereeing roller derby at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna make butter noodles. That sounds delicious. I'm gonna make butter noodles. So I made butter noodles, but I infused the butter / oil. I used oil, like right then and there. So it was like hella potent. It was green. Wow. It was straight up as green as that sign behind us. It was bright ass green. It was comical. It was ham and eggs green. It was green. And I was like, okay. So I just poured it on there and I ate that oil. And I was like, okay, well, I got to go to roller derby. I'll be back in a bit. And I get to roller derby about 45 minutes into practice. I'm in the middle of the ring. I got like 30 bitches just like, woo, 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 just skating around me, like doing roller derby shit. And I realized, oh my God, the floor is melting. My whole body is disintegrating before my eyes. I don't know what's going on anymore. I feel very uncomfortable. And I literally just like left. I didn't tell anybody anything.
There's like what?
Until like a couple days later, they were like, we had no idea what happened. We assumed you were like sick or something because you just like left the floor. You just left practice in the middle of practice. I was like, yeah, I was real high. I'm so sorry.
You're like, bye, Erin.
It was, going to roller derby practice after eating edibles. That was not the best decision of my life.
I've been there. It's like doing stand-up on acid. Not a good decision.
Yeah, no. Things you should not do.
So, how long did you do roller derby?
Like 2 years. I was like a referee.
Yeah. What was
I was trying not to get my face as an actor. This is like the money maker up in here. I tried not to bust my face up too much, so I didn't want to actually be a player.
I was like, that's a pretty brutal sport.
Yeah, that's why I was a ref. You get hit a lot less when you're a referee. You still get to yell and be angry.
Fair.
And be on roller skates.
What is the movie with she changed her name? It's not Ellen Page anymore. Whip It. Yes.
Drew Barrymore's
That's
movie.
the only place where I've learned the rules of it, and I was like, that's awesome. And stuff like that. Because I was like, there's so many sports where I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Honestly,
You
you don't really need to know what's going on. It's very circular. It's very much like NASCAR, but with ladies' bodies.
Okay.
You just go in a circle.
Because like one person scores, right?
Correct. One
That's
person
right.
scores.
Okay.
The jammer.
The jammer. Okay.
They are the scorer.
Okay. It's almost like Quidditch, but more violent.
Dude, Quidditch is pretty fucking violent. You remember when Harry like had his arm shattered?
Oh,
That
yeah,
was not easy.
Have you played Quidditch ever? Like,
One of my last years in college, we were developing a Quidditch team.
yeah. I remember
Did I play it? No.
we had like a Quidditch club as well, and I remember like the people on broomsticks.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was laughable at first, but like I was like, dude, in the future, this is gonna be like a serious sport.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Well, with the cancellation of J.K. Rowling, I don't really see that future coming to fruition.
Well, I could see like a variation where it's like electronic brooms or something like that, and like everything technology, no magic,
Hover brooms.
yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where they're like, all right, you got a tracker jacket on, and like these balls are gonna try to hit you the whole time.
Yeah, that sounds like how people die.
Like a sci-fi version.
Yeah.
You're like,
Blade Runner meets Quidditch.
Yeah, something stupid crazy like that. Like, have you ever seen like any fictional sport from a movie? You're like, well, I could see that one picking up. I'm like, that's mine.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
I'm a Hufflepuff. What are you?
Oh, I think I did that.
When was the last time you took the quiz?
Quiz? I think it was like, was it Ravenclaw?
I've been in every time I take that quiz, I get a different house. So
like
I'm just
depends on
gonna
your
pick the fucking house that I want to be in. It depends on the day. Sometimes I'm Ravenclaw, sometimes I'm Hufflepuff. I'm never a Gryffindor.
Never. Yeah, I've never gotten Gryffindor either.
When I was a kid, I got Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because when you're a kid, you're not cynical.
You're like, that's the good house.
That's the good house. That's the house where life hasn't beaten you down yet. Everybody else knows what's going on.
But poor Slytherin. I'm like, isn't it just a house at the school? And like they make it. I mean, just seemed like it got a bad rap.
They did get a bad rap. I feel really bad for. I know a couple really good Slytherins. There's nothing wrong with Slytherin. Mm-hmm. I'm still not a fan of snakes.
Yeah.
They don't have any arms or legs.
Yeah.
There's no reason they should exist. They're terrifying. Danger Noodle's not my friend.
Dude, I think everybody, like, doesn't matter how tough you are, like you see a snake slithering and you're like, that's a big no.
That was like the one thing I had to like come to terms with moving out here from Kansas, where there aren't a ton of poisonous snakes. There are snakes. Mm-hmm. There's a couple poisonous snakes, but they're like water snakes, which is a whole nother realm of terrifying when you're just hanging out fishing and you catch a snake. You're like, fuck, what do I do with this thing? But yeah, there's rattlesnakes out here. That was something I had to get used to, and I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan.
I feel like I'm not a fan of Australia for that reason, because I'm like 8 of the 10 most venomous creatures in the the
Yeah, I would love to visit Australia if I could go and want to, those like big bubbles that people get in. I would want to go in
like
one
something
of those.
like that. Like if I had like, an Outback guide or something like that, like Crocodile Dundee. That's what I would need.
Dude, I literally just rewatched those movies like a couple weeks ago, and I hadn't seen them in a really long time. They do not age well. When was the last time you saw Crocodile Dundee? There's a lot of very racist jokes in that movie.
The third one with Mike Tyson, I thought was like, wow, they really jumped the shark.
Oh God, I rewatched the first two, because the third one that happened like so many years later, where he was in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a bad one. I remember seeing that one in the theaters though.
Yeah, and then there was like, that whole, it was kind of how Hollywood thinks a little bit. There's like a bunch of movies like similar themes, like Kangaroo Jack was around the same time too.
Yes,
and stuff like that. I felt so bait and switched as a kid. You're like, I thought this was a cartoon movie about a talking kangaroo, and there was like 5 minutes of that.
Yeah,
so disappointed as a kid.
Oh my God, that movie was awful too.
Yep.
Poor Jerry O'Connell. That was not a highlight of his life.
Well, him and his brother, sometimes I confuse it too, because his other brother was in like Dude, Where's My Car? I think he's like the bad guy in that shit. And I think he has a twin brother.
Really?
Yeah. And like for years I was like, what? I thought I thought he was like Samuel L. Jackson, like level of like just working in so many movies.
Huh.
And then like, oh yeah, it's Charlie and Jared. I was like, what?
Oh.
There's 2 of them?
I'm gonna have to IMDb that.
They're like,
I don't know that.
That blew my mind.
Oh my gosh. Was he fat when he was little too?
I don't know. Probably.
Because he was the kid in Stand By Me.
This is like
He was the fat
next
kid.
level question. Yeah. God, what a good movie. Is that a tearjerker for you, like it is me?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Is there like a movie you're like, I watch this, I'm gonna cry every time?
Oh, there's a couple. Land Before Time. That one only comes up because I just got a day job working over at the Jurassic Park exhibit.
That's awesome. I need to hear
It's
about
so
that.
cool. Yeah, no, there's a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World exhibit over at the National Western Stock Show area. And it's just a bunch of animatronic and puppet dinosaurs.
Wow.
You can go hang out in Jurassic World.
I'd be the guy like talking to the dinosaurs.
I do talk to the dinosaurs. What are you? I literally worked the raptor cages the other day and spent the whole time yelling at raptors.
You're just like, stop.
You calm down. Calm down.
You're like Owen.
It's literally just like heads, animatronic heads that just kind of like spaz out every couple of seconds and terrify toddlers. But yeah, I get really into it. And a guy got mad at me for telling that his child that the dinosaurs were real. I was like, dude, you spent $90 on a ticket. The dinosaurs are real, motherfucker. What were you expecting? Were you expecting Steven Spielberg to come out here and jerk you off? The dinosaurs are real, fool.
Like, wait a minute. I don't think these real dinosaurs.
Well, he was mad because his kid was getting scared. And I was like, no, it's okay. They're locked up. It's fine.
Wow. I don't. That's peculiar. Why you get mad? That'd be like
Most of the kids in there are really terrified. I think this is going to be a whole generational trauma from this exhibit.
I feel like that, like with the zoo. Sometimes I've seen with like some of like the predator exhibits, like the kids are like, "Oh my god."
Yeah,
terrified.
That's the real life. It's a predator. It's gonna eat your ass.
I saw one the other day where like dad was like hovering his like kid over a koala exhibit, and the koala was trying to get the kid and stuff. I was like, the koala bear would f that kid up too.
Absolutely, dude. Last time I went, it's been so long since I've been to the zoo. Last time I went to the zoo, it was turtle mating season, and I saw something I could never unsee.
My favorite.
It was really, if you've never seen a video of turtles mating, you should look it up on YouTube. It's really disturbing. They're like, oh, little turtles. They make this sound. It's like, I can't even describe it. It sounds like someone's trying to kill them, but they're having a good time.
You're like, are they dying? Nope, they're not.
No. And then they like, all the park ranger, all the like zoo employees were like, oh, come on, kids, move along. All these boning turtles over here.
I feel the same with like rhinoceroses or like elephant poops too.
Oh yeah,
that's happened. I'm like, what is happening?
Oh my god, we got a bunch of poop at that exhibit too. That Jurassic World exhibit.
Fake poop.
Yeah, a bunch of fake poop, and the kids are really into it.
So I got a question about dinosaurs. Which dinosaur would you smoke with? If you could.
Which dinosaur would like smoking is probably your next answer. Probably an herbivore, not a carnivore.
I think carnivore could benefit.
The Brontosaurus, probably.
Ooh, big one.
It's big and slow. It's like a big old Eeyore. And he could probably get down with just as much as I smoke. We could probably smoke the same level.
I feel like a triceratops would be like good with edibles.
Oh, definitely.
Mellow.
Oh, yeah. Just kind of like hang out in the pasture. Again, herbivores. The carnivore is not going to be... They just cannot have that level of chill.
I feel like a T-Rex is like a cokehead.
Definitely. Maybe a little mescaline. The raptors are on meth. 100%. 100%. Oh my god, because they're so like spastic and they're like, okay, we gotta do this together, we gotta move, we gotta go, we're gonna go, let's get them together.
Just dinosaur behavior right there. I think, what if that was, I mean, this is that you heard that like stoned ape theory and stuff, they kind of talk about
what
that like whole like we kind of evolved by taking like mushrooms and psychedelics and stuff like that. And like cannabis and stuff like that. So I'm curious. I'm like, maybe there was like some point in evolution where like an animal
possibly
ate like a psychedelic or something like that. And they're like, what the hell?
Well, not acid, because we made that one.
But yeah,
but mushrooms or something,
like cow pies or like even cannabis. You know what I mean? Just eating that. Like maybe there's a fire in the field. And you're like, oh.
Wait, random question. Where are you from originally? Are you from here originally?
Yep. Here.
Oh, okay. Yep. So like back in Kansas, it grows wild out in the fields. There's a movie called Burning Kansas where a bunch of stoned hippies in the 60s just go on an adventure to go find a mythical weed field in the middle of nowhere in western Kansas. It's a very bizarre movie. It's an underrated 420 movie.
Okay.
I would highly suggest people who like watching movies to watch it. But yeah, it grows. We used to find ditchweed all the time. It's awful. Don't smoke it. It'll give you a headache. But yeah,
that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. It was like, what are your 420 movies or like your stoner movies? You're like, these are my top.
Oh shit. Yeah. That's really hard. In my brain, I'm just thinking about the 420 movies we watched this year because on my podcast, we did a 420 special and we watched both the Reefer Madness movies back to back. And those movies are really epic. Yes. But I love Half Baked, man. I know that one also hasn't necessarily aged well. Him being so excited for medical marijuana, it's just kind of cute and quaint now. But I don't know, man. There's so many good. I do love me some Harold and Kumar. I watched that one with my mom. My mom really likes Harold and Kumar. I got my mom inadvertently into a bunch of like stoner stuff. My mom's really into Harold and Kumar. She's really into Incubus. She's really into Tenacious D. She says she doesn't listen to the lyrics of Tenacious D. She just likes their voices. I was like, so when Fucker Gently is blaring in the car, you're not listening to the lyrics. Okay,
like,
Mom.
No, it's just Jack Black's voice.
I like its voice. I'm like, all right, Mom. Okay.
It's my dad with Harold and Kumar, too. I think those...
They put on blinders. They're like, oh, it's still funny.
The first one, I was like, dude, this is like one of the most perfect movies.
Did you see the Christmas one? There's a Christmas one.
I like the Christmas one.
I missed the Christmas one.
I like the Christmas one. Like Neil Patrick Harris, I think that character in that trilogy is the most brilliant, conniving person.
He's really good at that. I hope he's not like that at all in real life.
Well,
he doesn't seem like it. But.
They play it like in the third one that like he's like America's sweetheart. Like and he's like his husband's there, but he's like paying his husband to be gay so he can get chicks.
It's so fucking funny. Oh my god.
Like they play, it's brilliant. Like genius. I think, I don't know, whoever the writers are on that, they killed, I think, that White Castle. I mean, it's just as far as like the metaphor goes and everything, with the racial humor and the undertones on that too, it just killed it. I think it's one of the best satires of all time.
Agreed.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I feel so like Harold and Kumar is definite must. Half Baked, definite must. Reefer Madness, the musical, definite must. Yeah, those are definitely in my top 5 for sure.
I feel like a musical is always better high.
Especially that one. That one's real trippy. They go out of their way. I have a stony game / drinking game for that one. I feel like you can interchange alcohol or weed with this. Anytime Alan Cummings just randomly appears on stage, you either need to take a hit, smoke a joint, or take a shot / drink.
Okay.
Because he just randomly pops up a lot. So if you're like, if you're going to have alcohol poisoning if you drink like that during that game. But if you smoke, you're just going to be rolling real nice by the end of that movie.
Okay, noted. That's a fun game. Do you have a name for it, or is it just like, this is the game?
No, this is the game. Just the game.
I was like, what is that, like How I Met Your Mother, when like Robin she had like a catchphrase on the news, and like she would drink, like all the kids would drink, then she found out that college kids were drinking during that, so she said it all the time.
Oh my god. Oh, Pineapple Express. That's a favorite. Oh. That one literally made me pee myself a little bit in the theaters. I had to like leave in the middle of that movie. It made me laugh so hard.
I think
take a break, come back.
That part when they're just in the woods, he's like, my car died. He's like, what do you mean? It died. Like, it died.
It died.
I got to lose my shit, dude. He's like, space. Saul is he's so lovable.
Danny McBride in that movie is
Oh,
top notch.
oh my God. Yes. I used to have this gun when I was a prostitute.
We talk about penis guns a lot on my podcast. I didn't realize it was such a trope in Hollywood for dudes to just have little tiny guns in their underwear by their dick.
I feel like James
That doesn't seem like a very practical place to keep your gun.
Did James Bond have one too? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely
Little
where it
pocket?
came from.
Little pocket gun.
Yeah. But it's happened, like, we brought it up because we saw it a couple times in, like, some, like, old film noir movies. This dude just whips a gun out. Pow! Like, damn, penis gun. Always a thing. If it's small enough to shove down there, I guess you're going to do it.
You have to research it. I mean, duct tape, if you got something down there, too. Figure it out. So, you run a movie podcast, correct?
I do.
So what's the name of the podcast?
The Required Viewing Podcast with Erin and Chloe.
Okay.
I am Erin. My co-host is Chloe.
You're like, I am Erin and Chloe, actually.
I am both of us. I have dual personalities. No, my co-host is my best friend Chloe. Her dad was a scene painter and props maker in LA and worked in Hollywood, worked for Universal Studios. He worked on movies like the Evil Dead series and the Mummy series and Aliens and a bunch of movies. He worked on the Who Framed Roger Rabbit ride at Universal Studios and the Mummy ride, and the Jurassic Park ride, I think. Yeah, so she has her own fun growing up in LA and stuff. Everybody's in the biz a little bit just by proxy, just growing up there. So she has a unique insight, and she's also a graphic designer and a designer, so she always looks at things a little bit more artistic. So she has a nice little insight, and we just we give the plot of the movie, and then we have kind of a little free form talk about how the movie made us feel. I give some fun facts about the movie because that's something that I always really loved growing up, was finding out all the behind the scenes stuff, like who almost played that character or who got fired from that job or, man, they were in that water for 16 hours shooting. So I like knowing that stuff. Yeah. But that's part of like being someone who likes to make films. I like to find that stuff out. I want to know how it's done. I want to see the man behind the curtain.
Noted. So, like, part like Pineapple Express, like, did they actually get high?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Fun story.
Yeah.
Most of the time, not.
Okay.
Couple scenes, yes. Same with Grandma's Boy.
Okay.
There's a scene. That's another good stoner movie. There's a scene where Dante, I forgot his last name because they all just call him by his real.
It's Peter Dante.
His name is Dante, and everyone just calls him Dante in every movie, so he's just Dante. Yeah. So there's a scene where there's like a lion and a chimpanzee and shit, and just like roll around in his basement, and he's like actually smoking weed, and he had to smoke so much he couldn't like move from the couch. He was like, "You guys gotta come get me. I gotta." Most of the time they smoke. There is like, have you ever smoked that fake weed?
Yeah.
It's really gross.
We did like for a couple plays too, where like they had to get the smell right, and they kind of figured it out. I don't know. I can't remember the concoction.
Have you ever smoked real weed on set?
Oh my God, yes.
Me too.
I could not function.
No. So I did a project last summer. I was in a 48-hour film festival project, and we were shooting at a church. I was giving like a eulogy for my dead dad, who was also a magician. So like all of his magician friends were there. And the opening to the little short movie is me just like chiefing it up in the middle of this courtyard outside in the front of the church. So I got rip roaring high at a church on camera. It was great.
Were you
making parents proud.
Could you memorize your lines afterwards, or was it like...
It was literally the last shot of the day.
Okay.
I didn't have to do anything. It was the last thing we shot.
Because I did mine before, and then they didn't plan it. Then I had to do all the lines. And I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, most of that movie is me monologuing. It's like 7 minutes of me talking. There was no fucking way I was going to smoke a bunch of weed and then have to go remember my 5-minute monologue.
I was
no,
like,
thank
you
you.
have better directors than I did then.
Yeah, no. They wanted the golden hour in the evening too, so they were trying to time it around when the sun was setting to have the like perfect little vibe going on. But yeah, man, that would have gone a lot poor because it's a 48-hour film festival.
Yeah.
If you, for those who don't know, you
them.
literally create an entire movie from scratch in 2 days, and then they pick a winner, and that winner goes on to nationals in New York, and the winner from New York goes on to the Cannes Film Festival in France. So
Pretty interesting because you go right in the first night. It's like you have to use this line, this prop.
yeah, so you okay?
Yeah.
We cheated a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. So you're supposed to create a whole script from there. You draw a genre out of a hat, a prop, and a line of dialogue that all three of those elements have to be in your film. Well, the group I was working with already had a script, and they were hoping that the genre that they picked could be worked around a little bit. So they had a bunch of different scenarios of how they could re-edit the movie that they had in their mind for each different genre. So it was written to be like a serial comedy or a comedy drama. So there was a lot more jokes in it, and then we picked drama. So they took out all the jokes, and it happened to work out fine. But it's really hard for me to not be
Just play
funny.
play the jokes serious too.
Yeah.
All the punchlines. The drama. There you go.
I mean, it's funny just because my dead dad is a musician or a musician. He could have been a musician, but a magician.
It's like, I think Thunder Road. Have you seen that short film by Jim Cummings? I think one of the most brilliant, I think
so. It's been a long.
it's like he's a cop for his mom's funeral.
Oh, shit.
And he's dancing to Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That's brilliant. I was like,
That's so funny. I'm into it.
Stuff
Yeah,
like
so
that.
I just cried a lot. It was a lot less funny, but I got to smoke weed at a church.
Hey, there we go. There we go.
That's the moral of that story. I smoked weed at a church.
Oh, man. I think that's a good note to end on.
All right, cool. Thanks for having me on the podcast, man.
Hey, real quick, what is the name of your podcast?
My podcast is called The Required Viewing Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can find podcasts. Eventually, we'll have video and we'll be up on YouTube, but you can also follow me at Erin Mullane Official on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. You can follow our podcast on all those places too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Hey,
thanks, man.
guys at home, thank you for listening to Room 420. Be sure to follow us at Veriheal to stay up to date on the latest in cannabis news. Thanks for listening.
You want that boo boo nana? You want that boo boo nana? You want that boo boo nana? I love ugly baby. I'm on that boo boo gaga. Million on the corner. It's a